my name is Tina Martin, and I just came from writing postcards in support of public transit, getting funding, emergency funding, because after the pandemic, we were really down in our ridership. But I've been taking public transit since 1966, and I really believe in it. I like that quote that says something like, a developed nation isn't one where poor people have cars, it's where rich people take public transit. I'm not rich,
Yeah, right
but
on.
I think it's really important for our environment and for equity to have public transit. So that's what I was doing.
We took public transit yesterday for the first time. I hadn't taken it in like years.
Oh, which did you take and from where?
The T line. We took it to the Caltrain, and then we took the Caltrain on.
Oh, good. I don't even know the T line.
No,
I
I've
haven't
never
taken
taken
it
the
in
T line,
years.
but
Where did you start with the T line? What part of
From
it?
UN Plaza in Civic Center station.
Because I've taken so many different things.
I used to take it all the time
there
to go
and
to school, every day.
And where did you go to
And
school?
I couldn't wait to get my car because the bus would take like an hour.
Oh, we
And I
need
was
to.
like,
Yeah,
And
we
then I
need to
started
improve
driving,
the
it was 15
timing.
minutes.
But I have to say, I don't have a lot of complaints. I've been taking it, as I say, since 1966. I took it as a student. I took it as a babysitter, then as a mother with an infant and a toddler, and then just to get downtown to different events and not to have to worry about parking.
Yeah, that's
And when
really
I had a
nice.
car, and I really believe it's very, very important, but it's important to improve it too. I have no
Absolutely.
complaints,
I think
though.
so, too.
I may be lucky because I don't really have to wait a long time for buses and streetcars and
Yeah.
why is that?
bar.
Just 'cause
I don't know. I'm
you
just
just have a
lucky.
lot?
I guess I just hear people complaining about it a lot, but it seems to come really quickly.
Yeah.
And I go all over the city, so I guess I'm just really lucky.
You have transit karma.
Oh, I love that. Instead of parking.
Yeah.
So, in your opinion, what's the purpose of government?
Well, I think government is really important for things like public transportation, like schools.
Yeah.
I like the idea. At one time, I heard such horror stories about public schools that I thought, well, our child would have to go to a private school, even though we weren't very rich. But in fact, there are really some good public schools, and I like the idea in a democratic society of people going and supporting public schools. So that's one government thing. Roads, schools, everything. The government we depend on it for so many different things. So we need to have good government representatives, and we need to be informed and active as people who live here and vote.
So what would you say their purpose is?
Well, the purpose is to provide services.
Statement.
I would say the purpose is to provide services, schools, roads, services, and infrastructures.
Yeah. Okay.
There's so many ways that we depend upon government, and it's been reviled, by certain groups of people.
Yeah.
Because they don't like government control, they don't like regulations. But we probably wouldn't have had 2008 without government regulation if we had had.
You mean the
government.
financial
Strong, yes, the
collapse?
financial thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to pay attention. We need to protect consumers, and that's another thing that government can do. If it's not a for-profit organization, it's likelier to.
You mean 08 was caused by lack of government regulation?
I'm just saying,
that
they got carried away. Yeah, that people were able to do all kinds of things because it wasn't being very closely regulated.
Yeah, right. It's the same thing that's kind of happening now.
Yeah,
I don't know if you heard about the First Republic Bank going into
right.
receivership.
Is that?
Because they've been screwing around with, investing money they don't
Actually, I
have.
probably shouldn't keep my earplugs in. I wasn't really listening to anything other than you.
Okay, yeah. I do that sometimes.
But I realized that it looks as if I am.
So I want to give you this, and then, I wonder if if you're familiar where this is from.
Sure, I think I memorized this in school.
Yeah,
We the people of
it's
the United States
great.
in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, provide for the public welfare involved, and ensure domestic tranquility. Now I'm trying to remember whether this is the Constitution the Constitution of the United States, because we also memorized the Declaration of Independence.
Wow,
And,
nice.
yeah, we didn't. And I can
We
still
didn't
say
do
the
that. We just
Gettysburg
did that.
Address, 7 years ago. But anyway, but you know what, on speaking of government and what they do, and I was thinking of public transportation and supporting infrastructure. And I was actually changed. There's a poem that I guess is a classic poem. I don't even remember who wrote it. My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the high sky. And I've changed that to, my heart leaps up when I behold a Muni bus go by, provided that I'm not missing that bus,
Oh, right. Well, that'd be
provided that it's
Murphy's Law.
coming in my direction.
Yeah.
But this is nice. So what are you doing? What is the purpose of your?
So we're asking people what the purpose of government is.
Uh-huh.
So you've done that.
Oh, so they're
And
telling
then-
us here
and then
to form a
we
more
show
perfect
this.
union. Oh, that's interesting. Establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility. They don't say anything about public transportation.
No, but well, so when somebody takes an oath of office,
Uh-huh.
supervisors, mayor, president, anybody, they take an oath to this. This is the trust. This is the enacting clause of the trust agreement, which is the Constitution.
Well, yes, and number 5, promote the general welfare. That's
Yeah.
sort of what I was focusing on. Of all of those, I think that promote the general welfare, so that people can get around. People don't have to be rich. They don't have to have a car.
Yeah.
They don't have to pollute
That's part of it.
when they go from place to place. So
Exactly.
that's good. Can I take a picture of this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, the question is,
Uh-huh.
well, take the picture and then I want to ask you a question.
Okay,
about that.
sure. No, this, yeah, it doesn't recognize me with my sunglasses. There I go, and now I can take it.
It'll soon be able to recognize you with your sunglasses or a mask.
I know, it'll recognize me more than I want to be recognized. 1, 2, 3, thank you. And this is a short interview, okay. Yeah, so
All
yeah.
right, so then,
So the question is, so this is when somebody takes an oath,
Mm-hmm.
elected or appointed sometimes, police officers appointed,
Uh-huh,
they take an oath to this, to do these.
uh-huh.
And the agreement is we, as the people, we give some powers to the trustee, which is known as the United States of America in this
Interesting
case.
that you have this.
And the reason that we give them rights, powers, abilities, kind of like power of attorney,
Uh-huh.
is to do these things. So that's what they promised to do: form a more
uh-huh.
perfect union, establish justice, and so on.
And justice, yeah. And the transit justice is another group I belong to, transit justice.
Yeah.
What we have done for beneficiaries of trust is a legal relationship in which the holder of a right gives it to another who must keep and use it solely for another's benefit.
Right.
Sessions of the former sovereign are entitled to all the rights which formerly belonged to the king, his prerogative. Very nice. Anything outside of this is not withstanding. Okay, well, thank you.
Outside of
So-
these objectives.
Yeah,
right?
outside of these. So what are you going to be doing with this
So I
information?
want to
The
ask.
question is-
So I want to ask you. Currently, is the government? It could be local, state, federal. Are
Is
they
it carrying
doing-
out this thing?
Yes.
Well,
Are they doing
obviously,
these 6 mandates?
well, this thing about forming a more perfect union, our teachers told us we couldn't compare perfect. You can't say more perfect, just perfect, and there's no comparison. But as far as we have a very divided union now,
Yeah.
and I've noticed in San Francisco and the Bay Area in general that even progressives are divided. They
Yeah.
don't agree on issues. It's really interesting. So I can't say that they're doing this, but I can't say that they're totally at fault either. I mean, I don't know whom to blame. Establish justice. I think we've made improvements, but we sort of have a long way to go. Ensure domestic tranquility. No, definitely not that. But are you saying that we should blame them because they're not succeeding?
That's the
and-
next question I'm going to ask. you about that.
Okay. Provide for
So the question
Oh,
is
the
more
common
like,
the common defense is a funny thing because the common defense is always taken to be the military.
Yeah,
So they allow
it is.
anything for the military.
Right.
Ridiculous amounts of money. And then they don't understand that environmental protection is also common defense. So that's unfortunate. Promote the general welfare. Again, that's something that we're working towards as citizens. Secure the blessings of liberty. Did you hear about the HR 9, the House Resolution 9?
No.
It was just absurd. I think the Republicans did it to make the Democrats look bad because they thought what it was a declaration, a resolution declaring, I can't remember the word they used, but they were opposing in opposition to socialist governments, to the horrors of socialist governments. And they said, well, yes, fine, we're against the horrors of all horrors. We're against
Yeah,
all horrors.
right.
What about was it the socialists who were at the Capitol building with the insurrection on January 6th? Was it socialists and so forth and so on? So the Democrats had all these amendments they wanted to put in to specify, yes, we're against all horrors. socialist horrors, capitalist horrors, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
Even
But-
even the horrors done in the name of the United States. no?
Exactly. Yes.
Wouldn't
so
that be also
so
included?
yes, yes, of course. And so all of these things,
Yeah.
the invasion of Iraq, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So
Even the war going on right now in
and
Ukraine.
Yemen,
that's a
and
United
you know, one thing I
States
read
war.
that was so shocking is that there was more coverage of Queen Elizabeth's death than there was of the bombing of Yemen.
yeah.
For five years, you know, when people were supported by the United States drones and so forth and so on.
Yeah, that's sad.
So you know, again, where were we?
Yeah, the question was, do you think the government is doing
Well,
that?
Well, accomplishing it, no.
Okay.
No, they're not accomplishing it. And there's, you know, when you say the government, it's not it's not a monolith. You know, there are lots
Yeah.
of people in the government
Right.
who are working towards these things, and there are people who are doing a lot against these ideals. But so I couldn't give a yes or no answer to that,
Yeah.
since it's not a monolith.
A lot of people end up saying partially.
Well, some, you know,
Right.
some people really do work towards these things, and some people really interpret it very narrowly. But like this thing about the common defense, you know, that I mentioned earlier, that they have a very narrow idea of what the common defense is.
Yeah.
And it all has to do with war, waging war, preemptive strikes.
Yeah.
So, you know.
You know.
But
Like for example, what I would say is that they're doing some of it. I mean, because you wake up, if you go to the bathroom, you flush your stuff down the toilet, and then you wash your hands. You just turn a knob and you get clean water.
yeah,
And then you go cook. You have heat. You have
infrastructure
energy. You have
and,
this amazing, like 500 years ago, that was not the case.
Uh-huh.
People lived in very different situations. Back then, all the governments in the world were kings, queens, monarchies. So we have something different now. But at the same time, we have I think the statistic is 5 people dying every day from overdose, freezing to death,
I'm
or
surprised.
just being out.
I'm
and
surprised it's not
having,
more than
housing.
that.
It might be more. It
Do you
might
mean
be,
in this
might be
city?
less. Yeah.
Just in this city, yeah.
Yeah. We have. I was
On the
making
streets, yeah.
making these cards, right? And the reason I chose this picture for that card is
What
because
if 1,000 people pray together for San Francisco every Saturday morning? And what is this? The San
So-
Francisco
that's
An
the
appeal to heaven.
appeal?
yeah.
But the thing
And
that
if you
he's
turn
trying
it,
to
if you
say,
turn it over to the other side, right?
yeah, back to the other side.
An appeal to this one?
There's City Hall,
Yeah.
and there's a tent there. So I came in the morning and I saw this tent there, and I was like, oh, I don't know what that is. And then somebody came by and said, hey, you better pray for that guy over there. He just died. So it was 8 a.m. in the morning. Maybe he was overdosed. Maybe he froze to death, but he just died right there. And they came and put a tent over him, and they were waiting for the
Yeah.
body to come and pick him up, right? Or the van.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, these are the same thing. Well, no, it's a little different. So is this like a prayer, appeal to prayer?
every
Yeah.
Saturday morning we go to the UN Plaza and we pray.
And
There's a
when you
bunch of
say
us, we get
we,
together.
who are we?
There's a bunch of
Bunch
individuals.
people. I've only just been going recently to just film them and document it.
Now you sound like you're from an English.
I am. I'm from the Queen of England,
From-
King of England. country.
She's from our former.
You're from England.
She's from our former.
Because I can't
arch-nemesis.
always tell whether
Yeah.
it's Australia or New Zealand or
yeah,
where.
from
Yeah.
British.
Sometimes some
originally.
parts of Canada even have to have a British,
Yeah.
what we call a British accent. Well, thank you. I'm going to go on now because I have to.
Yes.
I have another event in the
One
afternoon.
final question, just really quickly.
Okay,
The last
okay.
question is, we went through this and you made a mention of it, but I want to ask just directly the question: whose responsibility is it ultimately to make sure that the government does that?
I think it's ours.
Ours, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it is.
Right on.
Okay. Well, thank you.